You know, you really got to give credit to Brian Kelly. He was on the hot seat big time in 2017. Made a lot of coaching changes. Most of the staff was replaced, including both coordinators. And the move must have really paid off because 2 years ago, the Irish were 4-8. Last year, a big-time turnaround, a 6-win improvement to a record of 10-3. So Coach Kelly, at least for right now, didn't have to worry about that hot seat. That seat, it's comfortable for him to sit on. Now, defensively, most of those players come back from a defense. I thought they did a good job. Offensively, where they made improvement as well, they got a lot of bodies to replace. We're going to start offensively, though, with at least one guy that'll be back. That's Brandon Wimbush. Now, a year ago, on one hand, stats not too bad. 16 touchdown passes, only 6 picks, and did rush for over 800 yards, okay? And was double digits on the ground and touchdowns as well. In fact, he accounted for 30 total touchdowns. But on the other hand, though, this is the one part about Wimbush's game that makes me feel a little uneasy. He took a lot of sacks last year and only completed 49% of his passes. I'll be stunned if Wimbush is the quarterback the entire 2018 season if he completes less than half of his passes. That can't get the job done. Ian Book, by the way, the backup quarterback, better be ready. Running backs, well, they lose a good one in Josh Adams. Adams was a workhorse for an Irish offense that averaged 269 yards on the ground per game, 7th best in the country. So losing him, that really stinks. So Adams left a year early for the NFL. Dexter Williams, the speedster, will now take over. In terms of the wide receivers, lost a couple of big targets. Inquimimius St. Brown, he's gone. Kevin Stevenson got kicked off the team back in December. So we'll see how the tall targets from Notre Dame handle the pressure. Chase Claypool, 6 feet 4 inches tall, 229, and also another tall target in Miles Boykin. Offensive line had one hell of a 2017. 3 of the 5 come back, but you lose the 2 best. Mike McGlinchey and Quentin Nelson were no doubt the 2 best linemen that Notre Dame had. So you now have Tommy Kramer at left guard, center Sam Mustipher, and Alex Bars at the right guard. You at least have those 3 coming back. The defense at Notre Dame definitely needed to wake up the echoes because 2 years ago they were bad. But last year, big-time strides were made as they brought in a couple of coaches from Wake Forest to turn things around. Coordinator Mike Elko and linebackers coach Clark Lee did a heck of a job as Notre Dame went from being pretty close to 100 in the country in total yards allowed to number 46, averaging just 369 yards per game allowed. A big-time improvement. Well, now Elko is the coordinator at Texas A&M, so Clark Lee gets elevated to the coordinator position, and most of the Irish players return, including a good chunk of that defensive line, which was very effective. Jerry Tillery is back at defensive tackle, 4.5 sacks a year ago. He's a senior, and Jonathan Bonner at nose tackle returns, also a senior, and at defensive end, Dalen Hayes. So Notre Dame's defensive line set. Got a couple of terrific linebackers also returning in the 4-3 defense. Tavon Coney, a tackling monster, 116 stops a year ago. And you bring in True Tranquil at the weak side linebacker. Secondary, and this was a very effective area for the Irish as well. Remember, Notre Dame last year only allowed 57% completion percentage. So they really did the job, and many of those guys are back, including Julian Love, 3 interceptions a year ago. You have him in a corner, and Nick Watkins will also play the corner position, a senior. And the safeties you're set with Nick Coleman as well as Jalen Elliott. It's Notre Dame, so it is a schedule filled with high-stakes competition year-round. That will include the season opener against Jim Harbaugh in Michigan. I suspect this will be a defensive war. Both teams can definitely play D. The final game of September, well, it'll be a big test against Bryce Love and the Stanford Cardinal. The following week, you got to go to Blacksburg to play Virginia Tech. And there are other games on the schedule that will definitely make you think twice. At Northwestern, November the 3rd. You get Florida State at home the following week. And you close out the year at the Coliseum against defending Pac-12 champion USC. Since Notre Dame does not play in a conference through an independent, I do not have a conference prediction for them. I'll just go off record, and I will say that defensively, they're going to be in every game that they play in, but the offense won't always come through in the biggest games. So I've got the Irish, 9 wins, 3 losses, and a shot if they can win the bowl game at their first back-to-back double-digit winning seasons since the Lou Holtz era, 1992 and 1993. That's my look at Notre Dame. See you next time.